Hi, everybody. I am Chris Howe. I am the SCC Treasurer, and I am going to be discussing the Material Services and Facilities form. In this presentation, we'll be talking about what you'll need to know before you fill out the form, what you need to know after you filled out the form, what this fund can be used for, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first things first, what is this form used for? So this form is essentially used for big ticket items. I mentioned this in the request to use funds form, but essentially some historically examples that we've used. Sailing wanted to purchase a boat rack, so they used the MSF fund in order to fund that. A gym floor partition divider is another example that has been used, and a portable stall for the recreation field is another historical example of the MSF fund. So some future examples that we might want to work on could be purchasing an actual restroom for the recreation field and actually building a space, a dedicated space for that rather than a porta potty. An athletic training station that is specifically closed off. So rather than a tent, it could be an actual room itself that has a closed door, just to ensure that there's some patient privacy there. A scoreboard in which all the different clubs can use would also be a great investment for this type of fund. Any big project your club needs. So for example, disc golf would like to purchase some baskets. This would be a great fund for that. So this fund is essentially used for items that can benefit everybody. So for example, like the scoreboard, many different clubs can use that. Or you can also use this fund in order to fund bigger, more expensive projects that you would like to have done over the entire campus. So those are just some examples of different things that you can use this type of fund for. It generally involves, like I said, bigger, more expensive projects that may require a little bit more detail involved in them, but there is more money involved into this fund that you're able to tap into. If you're not sure if your request qualifies for the MSF fund, just email us at scc@csumb.edu and we can go ahead and help you clarify that. So if you're not sure whether it should be involved in a funding proposal or the MSF fund, just let us know at scc@csumb.edu. So the next thing we're going to move on to is I do want to emphasize that you do not need to know all the details before you start the project or before you fill out the form. This form is only to communicate that you're interested in completing a certain project or starting the paperwork on that project. You don't need to know exactly how much it's going to cost. You don't need to know exactly what it's going to look like. It is only to communicate that you're interested in working on a particular project. And then after that, an SCC advisor will contact you to try and fulfill that request that you're asking for. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. So before you fill out this form, here are some things you'll need to know. The name of your project. You're going to want to know what you're going to be working on. The amount of money that you're requesting. Obviously, you're not going to know exactly how much money it's going to cost, but just do your best so that way we can have some sort of guesstimate. The next part you're going to want to know is a little bit of critical thinking. So what is the current problem? How will your project fix that problem? And if there are any potential drawbacks to your project, and then how will that project impact CSUMB students? Will it help them? Will it hinder them? Just give us some more detail on that. And then if you'd like to provide a screenshot of your cart or the proposal or any other helpful graphics that you can think of, that would be fantastic. Again, that's not really mandatory. The above three are, but the last one is mainly just to help flesh out your idea. So after you filled out the form, an SCC advisor will contact you to schedule a meeting time so that they can discuss this project and work on it with you to see it through its full vision. So let's see how this form works. We're going to go to myraf.csumb.edu/groups. So I'm going to go ahead and escape this presentation right here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. I have it right here, myraf.csumb.edu/groups. So here I'm just going to go ahead and go to groups. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on SCC. And then we're going to go to surveys and forms. Now it's going to look a little bit different on my end as an editor, but I will show you what it will look like for you. So I'm going to go ahead and click on edit right here. Now this is what it looks like from an editor's perspective, but I'm going to go ahead and click preview survey. That way you know what it'll look like on your end. So it's fairly simple. First things first, I give you an example of something that can be used as an appropriate request for this funding, for example, a gym curtain divider. And again, if you have any questions about whether or not your request qualifies for the MSF fund, meaning if it's an appropriate request, just email us at scc@csumb.edu for that clarification. I'm really excited to see what everyone wants to have and work on as a project. So I'm very excited for all that. So just moving on, we're going to indicate your student group name. So whether you're men's rugby or women's soccer, you're going to want to include that in here. Please simply state the program or activity or event you're requesting. So for example, if you need a shelf to hold volleyballs, that would also be a great request for the MSF fund. Just go ahead and include that right there. And again, please state the dollar amount you are requesting. You don't have to be perfect about this. Just do your best guesstimate for something. And then you're going to discuss right here, this is our critical thinking piece. So just discuss what is the current problem, how will your project fix that problem, and any potential drawbacks to your request. And then moving on, we're going to talk about how your proposal will impact CSUMB students. So please indicate that right here in this text box. And then just briefly explain how you derive the dollar amount for your proposal. So for example, if your proposal is $5,000, just include a little description as to how you arrived to that amount. You can also include a URL to a vendor's website. That's appropriate justification for this section as well. The next thing you want to do is, if you like, upload a file that you feel helps clarify or explain your proposal. That's great, just in case we want to see what exactly you have proposed and how that might affect the campus physically. And then lastly, just write out any other information you'd like to provide for us. It helps a great deal to have some extra information so we know exactly what your vision is. But again, you will be contacted by an SCC advisor afterwards to really flesh out this idea and make sure that we can see through to your vision. I hope this video has been helpful. I'm so excited to see what people request for the MSF funds, because there's a large fund to tap into and you can do a lot of really cool projects with it. If you have any questions, just email us at scc@csumb.edu and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for your time.